cool. We finally have an actual trailer, like a trailer of 100 Years Quest anime. We had the whole bit. It was over what, like 2 months ago. We had the little PV announcement where the only animated part was like Natsu for 2 seconds, and it was just like, oh yeah, we actually have a time where it's coming out, and it was like just pretty much saying like what, like July, and confirming that, hey, the anime is on the way, and then that's something, but like there was nothing really to go off of, and I feel like with the 2 seconds and then the new style, like some people had like a more negative stance on how the animation was going to look. One thing too, from what I've seen from the general reception, it seems so far, is people seem to like what they've seen, and like the way that, at least so far, how it looks. Given it's a trailer, I don't imagine we're gonna see anything really that crazy. They're not gonna show like, oh, whatever the coolest scene is that is they expect. Yeah, this is gonna be the hypest scene in this season. I know it's confirmed we're getting 26 episodes. They're doing it in 2 parts. I really, really, really want to emphasize, I do not want it to go into Alderaan in the first season, unless they have some like larger plan of what they want to do. Like, as I think that with the way the manga is set up, I think it makes sense for you to do it at the pace, because the pace has it to where it doesn't feel like it's bi-weekly at times, and it doesn't feel like it's monthly, because 100 Years Quest manga will cut out a lot of the fat, and the way that it does that at this point to where it really works is we already have a general lot of backstory, character development, knowledge of the characters for the main cast, so everything that you're relatively going to get in terms of new content for them personally and the story ongoing is most likely going to be generally like more kept down to them, and it's stuff where it's going to be, for the most part, 1, 2, maybe 3 plot lines of them going on. Nothing too crazy to where it's like you have plot lines, backstory, you have plot lines coming in that they don't know about yet. And there's a degree of that still, but it's not as widespread, obviously, as like points in the story where all the characters have that all at the same time. But I really am hoping that we get this whole set primarily within the Ermin arc and with Mercphobia. I'm hoping it's either most, like, if not all, that arc, or most of it is that arc, and then we have a good portion of anime original content. Because with the way the manga is formatted, this is the reason I was bringing it up. The way that the manga is formatted, it makes sense because it's bi-weekly. It's not designed to come out weekly to where it's like on top of the regular content you want to put out. You need to keep in mind the weekly pace, so you'll put in stuff in there that's just like for fun, just for jokes, to kind of fill in pages and kind of draw out a chapter, in case, like, say like, oh yeah, we need 3 pages by tomorrow, and you could fill in little bits or something like that. But with 100 Years Quest anime, you could easily take that bit and then just fill in little bits around there to where it adds extra stuff for like character content, world building, and anything within just general addition, as well as stuff like obviously extending a couple fights out, maybe adding in a couple NPC characters that give lore. I think that'd be cool. Like if we had 1 or 2 other NPC dudes in Ermina that like were like, oh, I love the water dragon god, or love water god. Like it's cool just to see stuff like that where it makes it a little bit more expansive. Or maybe even an episode where it's like they spend a little bit more time getting to the village, or they spend a little bit more time going over everything. I would love some flashbacks, like just little nods too at not like stuff that is not in the main manga but is canon. Like if we had something just really quick nods at Dragon Cry, nods at Happy spinoff, because I don't know like how if ever that's going to be relevant, but I would like to see that just be something that is. I'll be like, oh yeah, yeah, you would understand if you've read it or anything like that, to where you don't have to, but it's just good to see like stuff like that is included. But anyway, I'm gonna get to the actual trailer itself, talk about the trailer, and see what exactly we're going to be presented with. Because I said, I don't expect anything crazy. I expect it to be like a bunch of teasers showcasing of what we're going to be seeing. I know some people just have talked about how they want it to be all the way through Alderaan. I'm like, that's like 60 chapters in 25, 26 episodes likely, which I just feel is a lot. And I would rather get, like, the only way that would work for me, just really fast before I get to it, is if any of the fun side chapter stuff, not side chapter, but, you know, side adventure stuff like Fairy Nail is all crammed into one episode. And then we still have, oh yeah, we're gonna add character, like just general content, but we're going to kind of squish down the faster small paced, like they can compact down chapters where it's mostly just kind of talking and getting stuff kind of prepped up way more so, and then draw out like fighting episodes and lore stuff, world building stuff, and kind of keep it like that, where they expand upon things that already exist. But any of the stuff that is just like, yeah, we're gonna get just direct exposition, or we're gonna have stuff that's kind of thrown at you, like when the characters show up and they're all the members of the guild are taken over by, you know, I won't go too much into it, but like all the stuff over in Drasil, and you can take a lot of like the general kind of talking chapter, squish it down into like 10 minutes, but some of the stuff not so much. And obviously I got to be somewhat careful of spoilers in case people click on it that have it. I won't go too much into it, but I'll talk more so about just kind of what we see and what I'm expecting and what I'm hyped for. But let's see how things go. That's Guild Arts talking about the 100 Years quest. Makarov just kind of getting everybody prepped up for it, getting hyped up. That's like right after those dudes join, and he's like talking about Natsu and them going over to it. See, one thing for me, I always thought Elefsario would be more yellow. I could just look at this and just see that he's not as bright as my brain envisioned him. He's like green. I saw a screenshot of him when it was put out there, because we were talking about it. And I thought he was yellow. Hang on a second. Let me go back really fast. Let me go back really quick. Why does Acnologia's neck look so much bigger? He looks fucking ripped. Like the thing is, like, it's funny. For years, like I've had like just a small sort of people that would make jokes about like the fact that he has a 6-pack as a dragon. I think it's more like an 8 or a 10-pack. But right now he's got neck abs. Like his neck looks huge. Like, it's not big in a bad way, but it's still just like throat monster. No hate though, I love Acnologia. Do the beat. Alright, the dragon hunt begins. See, like, stuff like this, I'm hoping it's just like, because I know people too, like, when it comes to animation, oh, there's Kyria. That's actually kind of interesting. Hang on, let me go back. I want to make a point too. There's Mad Bull, my boy. I want to make a point really quick, but I want to look at this still shot, because it looks different in the manga, I swear. But like, just Natsu having like a heat force, it's almost like a heat shield kind of thing. I wonder how that works in terms of just generally how they're depicting it. Is Natsu making like a defensive like push of heat, and Kyria's attack is forcing it back, making that? Or is he just doing fire and it's her attack is just causing the heat to do that? I don't know. I'm very curious as to how that would work mechanically. But what was I saying? Something saying that I got distracted by Kyria. Oh, just because obviously whenever something comes out, people are like always trying to get hyped up when it comes to the animation. The only thing I would say about 100 Years Quest anime style, at least from what I could tell so far, I wish it had a little bit more shading. Not like a ton, but I wish it was just like that was like the thing with I feel like with Eden Zero it fits a little bit better because with the space theme, it needs to be a little bit more colorful. But I feel like with Eden Zero or for Fairy Tail, it needs just a little bit more shading. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I guess like it. I guess too. I gotta keep in mind when I was reading it versus like how the coloring of it realistically would be, because obviously in my mind I'm reading it in my imagination with known colors, but like aspects of like the fact that it's like, oh yeah, there's gonna be light down here despite the depth or whatever, it's gonna have lighting because it has to do it in Merc's area and stuff like that, and it's around this little sacrificial area, so it makes sense that it's lit up somehow. And I always pictured it maybe just way darker. I don't know. That might just be me. But either way, I know some people like want like everything to be movie level quality animation. I don't expect that. I really don't, especially when it comes to stuff that's put out. I want to say more frequently. The fact that we're doing cat hair in my mouth. The fact that we're doing like, there we go. I can problem with having so many cats. 25, somewhere between probably 24 and 26 episodes, and it's been a knowledgeable, like in known knowledge of works for a while. We don't know when they started just because we know when it was like probably set in motion, but like I know the wheels of animation take a while. But I would hope it has higher level quality than what we got with some parts of Alvarez. I've rewatched parts of Alvarez not too long ago. It actually looks better than I remembered initially, but still you can tell with some parts that are just a little bit cut around the corners. And I would really hope that we don't have parts like that. But I'm hoping that stuff where it's, oh yeah, the fish people of Ermina, kind of like general joke bits and kind of conversation. You don't have to go crazy in animation on that. I want things to look normal. I don't want it to look jarring. But I want like the quality animation to always be in parts like fight parts where people are going to be wanting and expecting the animation to look good and to be cool. Parts where you're getting like a world building, type of exposition or a terrain layout, like you're shown like this big landscape, like something like, oh, Mercphobia when he moves the sea there. It would be really cool just to like see a massive expanse and you're just seeing how much space he's actually covered, how much water he's moved, things like that, where it doesn't have to be an attack, but it's just to show you the scale and to get hyped and to really set you in the mood, because that's what the hype animation is important for. It's setting the mood of the person that's watching it. That's why when you get like a really cool fight opening bit, something like this, and if it looks good, then people are gonna be like, oh shit, they're gonna, that snap into action is gonna get you your blood pumping, and that's what gets people into a good mood watching things, especially well with just kind of like stuff that is made just to let you get a larger scale, like vision of like an effect. Like I said, just moving that, like what it looks like to move an ocean kind of. You can see it from a human standpoint at like the regular POV, or if it's like looking at it from like almost like an orbit standpoint to look at just like the effect. Stuff like that would be really cool. And I think that's the stuff that like it'd be really cool just to expand upon and to really put like the high animation moments into stuff like that. Obviously other bits like my man Ignia showing up, but that's besides the point. Like stuff like this. Let me go back a little bit. So I hope Kiria just looks good. I also always envisioned her sword energy to be like light blue. Madmol just in general. This is funny. This is actually a really funny bit. Let me just like look at this really funny. So this panel, it's really funny. It's like in the manga, I don't really like this panel because it it looks weird how Scullion is drawn in his face and his horns, just from the angle of like I feel like how his horns are straight on and then looking down at you from above. His horns just look weird, but I actually think this in the anime looks better because just from my experience with anime, um, this is going to be one of those parts where it just pans over to them. They don't have to do a bunch of animation because it's off of a direct panel, and you're just going to have like maybe some movement and then mouth movement bits of like characters talking. But it's supposed to be one of those pan in and it shows you the characters grouped up, and oh yeah, now they've arrived in this little squad. So I don't expect this to be high quality animation. I'm just actually think this is kind of funny because this looks better than in the manga. I just think that's a little humorous to me. Also, I feel like Curious Hair, like to me, I always envision it to be slightly different color. Mad Mole and Scullion look about the same to me. Like with Scullion too, I feel like with a little bit more shading, his design would look better. Maybe it's just this shot, but like I said, I feel like this, at least off of memory, this looks better in the anime than in the manga. Just because the manga, I don't know, I feel like just the angle looks weird on Scullion, but accidentally did this. I was like trying to press spacebar to start my video back up, or just play the rest of the clip, and I accidentally didn't notice I was clicked onto OBS, and of course spacebar in there ends the recording. So I did. Luckily, I caught it, probably like 2 seconds in, but I just thought that was funny. I was so glad that I managed to actually catch that though. So yeah, Natsu's this scuffed with Mad Mole, Wendy Dragon Force. Merc's just that dude. I really like Merc. I hope we get him back. Hold on. Let me go back real fast. No, too far. It was right after. Oh, full TF. Damn it. Right there. Where's Gray? Where's Gray? No, get back here, Gray. What is this? What is this? Why? I listen. This and like the way this is drawn doesn't look bad at all. The way that Gray looks in the scene doesn't look bad at all. Zero artistical problems. It's the effect, I wonder. Why is Gray's aura color design orange? He doesn't. That's a little confusing. I feel like you wouldn't want to have like a color because it's like obviously I guess it's like they want to have a color of some kind, but because the ocean is blue, you can't do a kind of cold bluish white looking color. But why didn't instead they just have it to where it's like grays instead of color? They just have it so it's cold and you have ice just kind of like forming around. Maybe like the chill is just kind of freezing water or something. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a scene where I'm hoping it just looks really nice, but forever it's just gonna, I don't know, color wise for me, just feels a little odd. Because this is like a color I'd expect from like an Urza attack or Guild Arts, or if I don't know. I just feel like with Gray specifically, it just looks a little strange. And then, okay. How do I feel about it? This is also a picture I saw on Twitter, and I have differing opinions. And it might just be one of those things because this is just one bit of the entire scene. But like the sword itself looks fine. Because one, we know it is a clean cut. We know it's a clean cut. We know Urza obviously is in this normal outfit. We know the environment. I actually think it looks nice because I thought they were in a room in the manga. I'm pretty sure they're in a room. And here it looks like they're in like a hallway. Physically, they're more in a hallway. But I like that it shows more of the sword. But I like how in the manga it's more of like a little bit more like jagged energy. Kind of like, what is it, like Kylo Ren's little exhaust ports and his lightsaber? It's a little bit more wavy and it's not as refined. That's how Urza's Belsarion sword is more in the manga. I like the cool dark energy going around it. But for me, see, this is another thing that's kind of confusing to me. I know people are gonna make hockey jokes. Just because something this will happen. Small spoiler alert. So skip over this little bit if you don't want to spoiler. I assume most people are probably aware. Obviously, I read the manga. And if you don't care, I won't go into details of this. Laxus, when he fights Urza, in my mind, it was always a weird choice to have Urza have a sword that had like red energy of whatever color, because obviously we didn't have official colors at that point. And then Laxus has his red lightning, but Laxus's lightning, it's like a dark red. It's what I would expect more of this to look like, and then Urza's sword to be more red. I'm very curious as how they're going to animate that, like what they're going to make the color style look. Because isn't this? I want to look up the scene really fast in the anime and see how they animated Laxus's red lightning, because I feel like they animated it like this. Is it going to look exactly the same? I just wonder about that. I like the concept. If there's a connection concept, and I know I'm rambling a little bit. If there's a connection concept of these two, like obviously it's like, oh well, the sword, or in this set, Urza and her swords, cut a dragon, so the blood is soaked into it. So now it's just kind of like a dragon slaying set, and it's like Laxus's blood magic, because obviously red lightning is both lightning magic and blood magic, into the sword, and so it's a dragon blood magic sword, and that's why it's this color, and why Laxus's lightning is that color with blood involved. I wish there was something like that where it's like we have a direct connection point, unless they want to make the red lightning look different in the anime. Maybe once Urza gets to that point, they're gonna change how it looks or something. It's just long, the next future thing. I guess it's not long in the future, because it would logically be the next season. If assuming that it's going to be the 24 to 26 episodes are going to be on Ermina and Merc specifically, or maybe a little bit of additional content in the anime, who knows. I don't imagine they're going to go all the way through Alderaan. Maybe they'll start with part of Alderaan, I don't know. I know that's not crazy really in terms of Vision Away, because once this is out, I would assume they're going to get started on the next one, so that they'll be working on it, so even like the bit in mind is relevant. But anyway, the only thing I would say for me is Urza's face is just one of those animation versus manga scenes. I wish we had a little bit better of Urza's face drawn. It looks fine. I just wish it was more like cool of a dynamic angle, and we had like a little cool part with it of like Urza's the look on her face pulling the sword out. But seeing it in use will probably look better once we actually see it implemented in the whole animation scene, because this is literally supposed to be more so just thing like, look at the blade, look at this blade. Even the sword handle is not super important, because it's like, the sword handle is not important, it's the effect that Urza just applied to her sword. But anyway, we keep going. Admiral fight. There's my guy. Now hold on. Merc. I like Merc. Sculling, I like Merc. Where's my dude? Ooh. See, this is another thing too. I forget about, because obviously, manga in black and white versus relatively anything in color, is that we have here this the color of it. In my mind, I always vision it just like they're normally talking, but obviously Ignia had lit the place on fire, so it makes sense if you have this burning background color. I like the way he's drawn. The only thing for me is his hair is more so how it looks when he first shows up. I assume how he looks in his, when he switches to his dragon form is going to be the same as how it is when he first shows up, and not the redesign. But his hair gets a little bit different later on. It gets a little bit more spread out. It gets a little bit bigger, a little bit more kind of just of volume. But it's lacking the kind of like reddish color that goes between, because it's like orange then goes into a kind of reddish, like dark reddish kind of, almost not magenta, but if like a magenta but it was more red, and then it goes into that burnt black and not just orange to black. Maybe that's something they'll change later, I don't know. But I mean, he looks good. I mean, like, he's the dude. He's gonna be super sick just to see active and out and really kind of just be in 100 Years Quest. I don't think we have a voice actor for him though. I think we have a voice actor for relatively everybody else except for him. So we're gonna be waiting on this dude and hyped to see exactly what one we actually get him animated. It's going on there too. See, this is a part I'm also really hoping looks well animated. And this bit looks fine, because I feel like this, like just his face and this scene, this is one of those animation bits where it's goes into the attack and then you see the effect, and that's going to be more of like the hype part. This is what him using absolute ash or utter ash, whichever the train, and just completely just dusting the area before Gray starts to kind of turn things around on him. And then Merc, man, people made so many jokes about him being CGI. I'm fine if for some of the bits they kind of like have like a short bit where it's like CGI really fast, just to kind of have like a short fluid motion and then back to the normally drawn, because CGI isn't bad in itself. It's bad if you just do just CGI and cheaply too, because it looks awful. But in parts where it's blended well, it obviously ends up having a much more nice, long-standing effect. Merc looks really cool. I feel like in my brain he's supposed to have like one more of these kind of fin parts. I don't know, maybe it's just the angle that it's drawn. But really enjoying just seeing him animated. I can't wait to see how this fight is going to go down. And it's going to be nice to be back. And then, to my knowledge, really kind of give us a strong standing presence of, yeah, this is how we're going to be seeing things. Depending on obviously the popularity, I would hope that maybe we can get a little bit more for season 2, because season 2 is going to be obviously more hype than season 1. And I'm curious as to where episodes are going to be set, because I know some people wanted to go all the way through Alderaan. I feel like that's a lot, and I would much more prefer it to sit between going through start through Ermina and then a little bit of extra content maybe between those points, maybe a little bit of a new additional anime content at the end, and then maybe we end it with going into Alderaan. I think it'd be cool if we ended it involving Alderaan to be, once we introduce Alderaan, you see how big he is. I think that would be a really cool way to kind of go out. I just don't want it to be, we're gonna have 60, 70 chapters crammed into 25 episodes. I feel like that's just gonna feel bad. And I would rather it just look good. I mean, if they said, yeah, we're going to make it look really good too, I would be happy with that. But I don't imagine if they're going to just cram everything in there, it's probably not going to be of like a nice pristine level. And like I said, I don't expect everything to be movie level quality. I'm just hoping the parts that are in the story you'd expect to be more hype and to be the momentum moments, I guess, if you want to say, those to be where it's going to be looking really nice and to be captivating the viewers and making them be like, oh shit, what's going to happen next? How is this problem going to be resolved? How is this going to go down? And just see it all just play out in the story. So for now, I mean, this is about what I expected. I was very curious as to what we were going to be shown in terms of events in the story for this bit. I'm guessing it, at least as of now, I feel like this is going to be all the way through. Like, maybe they end. I'm trying to think, because you could easily do all the way through Merc's arc in 13 episodes. But it's the second part. It's like you can't do through Alderaan in 13 episodes. because that's like what 40 something chapters in 13 episodes, 12 episodes. I just don't really like the idea of that. I would really like it if it just kind of got pushed out a little bit and maybe we got some additional content. I feel like small side stories would be really nice to have in the end, just to kind of make the 100 Years quest itself feel more like questing in a new land and not just the events of the 100 Years quest directly. Because it's like if you had 2 chapters where it's like, oh yeah, you see this, or not 2 chapters, but like 2 episodes where you have them visit, a location or two, and it's just world building, cool stuff to see. Maybe you have the characters learn something or something that expands world building. Like it'd be really cool if they found small notes on bits of information on the dragon gods. Then we ran into them. So it's like almost like Monster Hunter. It's like you have to find little bits of research at points, optionally, that gives you more understanding of what you're about to be dealing with. I think that'd be cool. Or like characters who believe information. I worship X dragon god. I've never been there, but I practice their teachings or something like that. I've been there once, and it was the greatest day ever. Some dude who's just out there selling cucumbers. Anyway, I'll end it here. Obviously, I've been rambling a little bit, but I just wanted to get my whole spread opinion across, because obviously for some people they're going into this blind, but I'm going into this with knowledge and with big fairy tale upstanding, I guess, investments really. So I'm just hoping, like I said, that the parts that I'm really wanting to see look crisp, and that they add stuff that provides value to the series overall. Like I said, you could do a lot with just like, oh yeah, let's add a 5-minute scene here where they're visiting this little, port, where after they get off the boat, getting into Giltina, and it's just showing them kind of just interacting with characters. Maybe they're asking questions. Maybe it's just like, oh, they get a couple funny answers. A couple guys who are just like, I have no idea. But it's like, oh yeah, they have 2 people that give some information, and maybe those bits of information are slightly helpful, not really helpful, and that's what leads them to say, oh, let's go to Magia Dragon and go try and get information there. Oh no, they have to go there for the quest. Well, I would like the idea that if, even though they're on the way there, they still would take the opportunity to learn stuff, and they're like, oh well, I guess we're going there already, kind of thing, something like. I don't know, stuff like that I think would be beneficial to the viewing experience, kind of thing. So much just, yeah, we want to have filler bits where the characters take longer in the episodes. Because you could do that. It's the way that you do it. Are you making something valuable? Or are you just saying like, hey, I need to kill 4 minutes of your time, kind of. Anyway, tell me your opinions about everything below, and to what your thoughts are about what's coming up. Obviously, this is longer than just 2-minute trailer. It's more so about my big old position to the series itself, I would say, and what we're going to be expecting. So we got about a month. And then we're going to be watching the 100 Years quest anime and seeing how it comes out. Anyway, talk to you guys later.